Not a great start of the year for Russia. In just 1 week, Russians lost 4 helicopters. In recent days, Russia lost 2 Mi-8 and 1 Mi-28 helicopters, and another Mi-8 got damaged on that attack in Crimea by Ukrainian sea drones. Crews of the destroyed helicopters were killed, and only in the 2 downed Mi-8 helicopters, 16 Russian soldiers died. So, if morning shows the day, it will not be a good year for Putin's armada. A day in life of a Ukrainian Special Forces soldier in Kursk region, eliminating Russian troops, capturing POWs, collecting trophies, and planting mines. Flags in the video suggest most eliminated Russians were from the Marine Corps. In recent months, Ukrainian Special Operations Forces have conducted significant operations in Russia's Kursk region, inflicting substantial losses on Russian Marine brigades. On December 31st, 2024, Ukrainian forces targeted a Russian military command post in Marino village, Kursk Oblast, resulting in significant losses for Russia's 810th Marine Brigade. This brigade, along with the 155th Marine Brigade, has been heavily depleted after months of largely unsuccessful assaults and is now withdrawing from the region to recover. Earlier, on November 27, 2024, Ukrainian Special Operations Forces captured several dozen Russian Marines in the Kursk region, dealing a significant blow to Russian manpower. These operations have been part of a broader Ukrainian incursion into Russian territory, initiated in August 2024, aiming to disrupt Russian military activities and apply pressure on the Kremlin. Despite initial successes, including the capture of villages and infliction of heavy casualties on Russian forces, the operation has faced challenges due to the overwhelming number of Russian reinforcements and resource constraints on the Ukrainian side. The conflict has led to severe casualties for Russian forces. In November 2024, Russia experienced its deadliest day of the war, losing 1,950 troops in a failed attempt to retake Kursk from Ukrainian forces. Additionally, UK intelligence reported nearly 46,000 Russian troop losses in November alone. These losses have been exacerbated by the involvement of North Korean soldiers fighting alongside Russian troops, who have also suffered heavy casualties. The high casualty rates have raised concerns about the sustainability of Russian offensive operations in the region. Despite these challenges, Ukrainian Special Operations Forces continue to conduct targeted strikes against Russian command centers and supply lines in the Kursk region, aiming to weaken Russian military capabilities and morale. The ongoing operations underscore the strategic importance of the Kursk region in the broader conflict between Ukraine and Russia. A new threat looms. Russians predict the imminent deployment of hundreds of thousands of fiber-optic-controlled drones by the AFU, drones that are impervious to electronic warfare. This claim is allegedly supported by reports of large-scale component purchases from China. On certain fronts, including Pokrovsk, Ukrainian forces are reportedly already using these drones extensively. According to the blogger, their use has led to substantial losses in equipment. The post is lengthy but provides some great context. Recently, the colleague Russian engineer commented on the news of the deployment of FPV drones with fiber optic control in the Magyar Brigade's UAV units. Regarding the potential scale of this issue, Russian engineer pointed out, "To understand the situation, we're talking about dozens, if not up to 100,000 such drones in the Ukrainian armed forces by late February to May. This estimate is based on analyzing the volume of orders from China." This is now also being echoed by Alexander Karchenko. The enemy has ordered a huge number of fiber optic spools from China. Very soon, Ukrainian drones with fiber optic control will become a widespread phenomenon on the front lines. The nuance is that FPV drones with fiber optic control are already being actively used. Specifically, according to on-the-ground reports, in the southern part of the Pokrovsk direction where, among other things, units of the Magyar's brigade are operating, near Novotroitske, the enemy has almost entirely switched to fiber optic control. Electronic warfare is ineffective, and the road section from Jolte to Novopustinka is literally filled with burnt-out vehicles. Some of them are combat vehicles, including tanks, but the majority are trucks, and small transport vehicles for supply and evacuation. These drones are already quite numerous, flying almost every 5 minutes along the road, searching for targets. In fact, the problem has already arrived. The cost of this issue will be more unnecessary losses in personnel and equipment. Our side, represented by Alexei Chadayev and his NPC Ushkuinik, managed to deploy fiber optic cables to the front lines ahead of the enemy, and the symmetrical response from the enemy was absolutely expected. It was only a matter of time. However, there has been a lack of adequate preparation for this anticipated response. This isn't just about the issue of small arms fire, which can, in principle, still help out infantry. This topic deserves a separate discussion. But infantry, even with handcarts, cannot carry out frontline logistics, including the supply of mines and shells. Additionally, assault infantry, in one form or another, need armor. Ensuring effective fire while moving, either from armored vehicles or civilian vehicles, is extremely difficult, especially since fiber optic guided kamikaze drones can approach their targets very low to the ground, making them harder to detect from armor or inside vehicles. The enemy, using fiber optic control, is primarily focused on disabling any of our combat and transport vehicles. And surprisingly, our vehicles are critically vulnerable to these anti-tank drone-like devices. While it is possible to increase the survivability of at least armored vehicles and trucks, although it's more difficult with buggies and ATVs, by reinforcing them with frames and nylon nets, this hasn't been done. Moreover, the issue of proactively identifying and neutralizing operator positions arises. As far as I understand, this remains a problem even for ordinary FPV drone operators. And with fiber optic control, the capabilities of electronic warfare and electronic intelligence are reduced. However, if approached properly and comprehensively, I suspect that solutions can still be found. This is a serious problem that requires urgent measures. Unfortunately, Goodwin can no longer provide any solutions, but there are still specialists who can and should be consulted, instead of trying to monopolize the topic of fiber optic control. Otherwise, we will be left with no options. In general, we are already running out of options.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.